Good evening, I'm Jason Vio. Katarina is away tonight. This is CBC Windsor News. Thank you so much for watching. Tonight, new information surfaces about a young woman assaulted in our community. Plus, one prominent restaurant in Walkerville has been demolished, but the historic neighborhood has some development on the horizon. Deal or no deal? Construction is still stopped at the battery plant in Windsor, and still no clear picture on talks between Stellantis and the federal government. And artificial intelligence is being used to recreate a legendary band's song. It's being described as both exciting and scary technology you won't want to miss, coming up a little later in the show. We begin tonight with an update from police about a sexual assault investigation. Officers with major crimes say a young woman was assaulted in South Walkerville earlier this month. Police today say this was not a random attack and that the suspect was not a stranger. The young girl says it happened at Optimus Memorial Park on June 3rd. That was a Saturday. Police are releasing few details, though, other than the suspect and victim were known to one another. Major Crimes is continuing their investigation. In other local news, major changes continue to reshape Walkerville. As some restaurants see a facelift, another has been torn down. The CBC's Dale Molnar reports on what's next for the neighborhood.
The Milo's Greek Grill restaurant was destroyed by a suspicious fire last October and was recently torn down. It has gone through a number of incarnations. Those restaurants rose from ashes of another restaurant that burned down in 1976.
I think the site might be a little bit cursed.
Walkerville publisher Chris Edwards says this empty lot has left a hole in the community.
Well, I think it's another tragedy. We lost a pretty cool building in Walkerville, and it was, I wouldn't say it was a historic building, but it was certainly a landmark.
The owners of Milos are renovating the former Nola restaurant, and the Greek restaurant will be moving there.
When we lose a building, we say it's like losing a tooth in your mouth. So we got a tooth missing right now, and we hope that something good will happen out of it.
There's a lot of change in Walkerville. The Rosati Group is refurbishing the block at 1801 Wyandotte. There will be a goat restaurant, Kona Sushi is moving back, and there will be an investment firm on the top floor. They're doing a similar restoration they did to the Strathcona building, where the Twisted Apron is now.
I think it's a great opportunity for Walkerville. It's amazing to see all the rebuilds and everybody moving around, people coming back into the neighborhood who had been here before Milos. I hope that they rebuild there. It's a wonderful little area, and the more people we can get into the Walkerville area, the better.
And the Rosati Group has even more plans in partnership with the Walkerville Brewery.
And the big Distillery Square project, it's a big mixed-use project again. Hopefully parking garage. We have condo units, apartment units, hopefully boutique hotel, and probably about 6 or 7 F&B spaces.
The Ethos plant-based grocery store next to Biblioasis permanently closed on Sunday. It's not clear what's coming to this empty lot, but Edwards and Brunel would like to see another grocery store go where the Milos Greek Grill was. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
We continue to check in with sources about the status of the electric vehicle battery plant. Construction at part of the plant has been on pause for nearly a month now. Stellantis and LG saying they continue to review a revised offer from the federal government. Our Katerina Georgieva takes a look into the deal.
There's a long history of taxpayer money funneling into automakers. So let's take a look at Stellantis, recently known as FCA, before that Chrysler, forever referred to as Chryslers by the folks in this city, especially the thousands who work at the Windsor Assembly Plant, the city's largest employer and the beating heart of the local economy. But the auto industry has skipped a few beats, shifting optimism in this city, forcing the government to step in. Chrysler shut down all production during a global economic meltdown back in 2008. The auto industry needing a bailout to survive.
For decades now, their work has helped lift all of us up, and our government won't let them down.
The federal and provincial governments put up loads of taxpayer dollars to keep the industry afloat. And then between both governments, they wrote off more than $3 billion in loans years later. Fast forward to 2019, news of layoffs in Windsor with the loss of the third shift at the Windsor Assembly Plant. 1,500 jobs eliminated.
People's lives, 1,500. Direct families depend on us.
During the pandemic, the company also announced plans to end the second shift as well. Another shot to the heart. There was a lot of fear at the time and anger as well, especially that this would happen after the auto bailout investments. It seemed like the beginning of a dark stretch for auto in Windsor. But then hope, promises of a new product, and promises to bring back both the second and the third shifts. And then
LG Energy Solution and automaker Stellantis are joining forces to invest $5 billion. They're ready to build the province's first large-scale electric vehicle battery plant right here in Windsor.
Easily the biggest thing to happen in this city in generations. Not only securing the future of the Windsor assembly plant, but also positioning Windsor as a leader as the auto industry shifts to electrification, with more than $1 billion in investments between the federal and provincial governments.
It's probably the biggest and the best investment that I've heard in my 57 years here. We're all excited.
With it, promises of 2,500 new jobs plus spin-offs. Also, big investments to retool assembly plants in both Windsor and Brampton to build EVs as well, and for EV-related research and development. The feds and the province once again investing upwards of $1 billion towards that. Everything looked shiny and bright until Stellantis LG hits the brakes on construction at the new Nexstar battery plant.
When the government says they're going to contribute and help out with the cost of that, and then they don't, that's not good for Windsor's economy.
They dangle a carrot in front of us.
But America dangled a bigger carrot. The Inflation Reduction Act offers billions of tax credits for automakers to build in the United States. Experts say in the case of the battery plant, it could amount to $19 billion worth of credits over the next decade if the company chooses to move the plant. That's according to a Bloomberg report. So Stellantis LG demanding a sweeter deal from Canada to stay. The company saying that Ottawa had given them assurances that its offer would match the IRA, especially after Volkswagen recently got up to $13 billion in subsidies from the government to build its new plant in St. Thomas.
When will this Liberal government follow through on commitments and get this plant built and ensure those jobs are protected?
I am not happy that our members are caught in the middle of this high-stakes poker game right now.
We're the automotive and the automobility capital of Canada. We want the federal government to follow through on their commitment that they made to our largest employer and get all of the elements over the finish line.
The conflict that has unfolded here could be an example of more to come as Canada continues to try and keep up with the United States one deal at a time, all in an effort to keep the auto industry growing on Canadian soil.
A piece of local history is looking for new life. Amherstburg is accepting plans to develop the historic Bellevue House. It's more than 200 years old, and that history must be a part of whatever happens next. But no matter what happens, the town says the developer must restore the building, and that could cost millions. Windsor Morning will have the town's CAO on live tomorrow. Tune in at 8:10 to hear more about what this could one day become. Ontario's budget watchdog says the province has $22.6 billion in excess funds. So far, there are no plans on what they will do with that money.
What's the big difference has been really exceptional revenue growth, and that's been driven by the recovery from the pandemic, but also the inflationary environment that we're in. So that I think has been the big difference.
The excess funds represent money that hasn't been invested into existing or upcoming programs now through 2026. The funds can be used to finance future projects or unexpected expenses, but if not used, the Financial Accountability Office says it could be used to help balance the budget and reduce debt. Bonnie Crombie is officially running to be the leader of the Ontario Liberal Party. The Mississauga mayor registered with Elections Ontario today. She's the fourth candidate to officially join the race. Beaches East York MP Nate Erskine-Smith, Kingston MPP Ted Shue, and Ottawa MP Yasser Naqvi have already signed up. The Liberals have failed to gain party status in the last two elections. The RCMP says it has opened an investigation into allegations China tried to intimidate Conservative MP Michael Chong and his family. The news broke earlier today at the latest parliamentary committee hearing on the issue. Rafi Boudjikanian has more.
We were made aware of it. We approached Mr. Chong.
A rare admission from the RCMP to a room of MPs studying foreign interference, confirming an investigation into allegations of intimidation against Conservative MP Michael Chong. In May, the Globe and Mail reported a memo by Canada's spy agency revealed multiple MPs were targeted by China after they spoke out against Beijing's human rights record, and a Chinese diplomat sought information on Chong's family in Hong Kong. That memo is 2 years old. The Mounties only started looking into this case after the newspaper's story last month, prompting yet more questions about how widely CSIS shared its work.
With the amount of information that flows, sometimes it's a decision, does that meet the criminal threshold? When do we engage the RCMP? So I'm not here to judge the service on just one single aspect, but if we can improve the flow of information, for sure, for the better of everyone.
One person who did get the memo, the Prime Minister's national security advisor at the time, but he did not share it.
The report was never intended to spur action by readers, whether around targeting MPs or any of the other examples of foreign interference it lists. It was not a memorandum for action. It was a report for awareness.
Hard to believe for the official opposition, which used question period to again push for a public inquiry into foreign interference.
No public inquiry, no truth, and no responsibility shown by this government.
We continue to look at all options, including a public process.
Despite all the shouting on Parliament Hill, there's been some incremental cooperation too. The Bloc Québécois has met with the Conservatives and has sent the government a list of potential candidates to head a public inquiry. All this as the RCMP says it has opened more than 100 investigations into foreign meddling. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
Donald Trump pleaded not guilty today in a Miami courthouse to 37 federal charges tied to the alleged mishandling of classified documents. It marks the first time that a former U.S. president has been charged with federal crimes. CBC's Chris Reyes has this report from Miami.
It was a morning of great anticipation here at the federal courthouse in Miami, where crowds arrived very early in the morning ahead of Trump's historic indictment. Have a listen to what they said.
It's nice to see a little justice done, a little bit delayed, but long overdue for a case of old 45 here.
Well, this whole thing should be thrown out because Trump did nothing wrong.
I'm here to support the legitimate president. This is third world banana republic tactics.
As scheduled, Trump arrived by motorcade just a little bit before his 3 p.m. arraignment. He entered the courthouse via an underground passage. The full security that's been in place in this area since over the weekend was on full display. He was traveling from his resort in Doral, Florida, which is about a 30-minute drive from here. He stayed there overnight, had dinner with his son, and also his aide, Walt Nauta, who is named in the indictment, also facing charges. Now, upon his arrival, Trump's spokesperson gave a statement outside the courthouse.
What is being done to the President Trump should terrify all citizens of this country. These are not the ideals that our democracy is founded upon. This is not our America.
Once inside, Trump was booked and processed. No mugshot was taken. He faced a federal magistrate. This is the judicial officer in charge of pretrial proceedings. He entered a plea of not guilty to all 37 charges in connection to the alleged mishandling of classified documents after he left the White House in 2021. He was released on his own recognizance without bail or any restrictions. He then left the courthouse with a large crowd gathered outside cheering him on. He's headed to Bedminster, New Jersey tonight, where he's expected to make a public statement at a fundraiser. Chris Reyes, CBC News, Miami.
Let's take a live look outside to see what's going on. You can see those huge dark clouds just coming over the downtown core, and the east end of Windsor there. Environment Canada has a special weather statement out right now warning about the potential for funnel clouds. Right after the break, we'll take a look at your full weather forecast, including a peek at temperatures warming up. That's coming up next. The legendary John Lennon was fatally shot more than 40 years ago, but in a unique merger of music and science, his voice is going to be part of a new song. Surviving Beatle Sir Paul McCartney says artificial intelligence is making that possible, but as Chris Brown explains, using AI could also spell trouble for the music industry.
For a moment this past summer at Glastonbury's famed music festival, it was as if time turned back almost 50 years. Paul McCartney and John Lennon singing a duet, sending shivers through the audience. Thanks to that same artificial intelligence technology developed for Peter Jackson's documentary series Get Back, McCartney told BBC Radio that the Beatles now have one final song to release together.
It was a demo that John had that we worked on, and we've just finished it up. It'll be released this year.
The song is thought to be Now and Then, written in 1978, 2 years before Lennon was shot to death. 2 other Lennon-composed tracks were released by the surviving band members in 1995, but Now and Then was discarded because Lennon's voice track was too poor quality.
We were able to take John's voice and get it pure through this AI.
At the world's most famous crosswalk, outside the London recording studio where the Fab Four made music history, fans were elated.
Wow, I think that's really beautiful because otherwise we wouldn't have heard that demo.
Artificial intelligence is already transforming the music industry, and not always in good ways, depending on who you ask. There are plenty of examples of fakes, as well as tough ethical and legal questions. AI-generated songs with vocals sounding strikingly like Canadian artists Drake and The Weeknd recently went viral before being pulled from streaming platforms for copyright violations.
Your data should not be used unless you have approved it.
Martin Clancy is a musician, and he chairs a global committee exploring the ethics of AI in the arts. Despite the risks, he wants artists to experiment.
Let's encourage Paul McCartney. Do a whole album, but lead the way, guide us in the way that Sgt. Pepper's inspired so many musicians.
Indeed, in his interview, McCartney says he believes AI's future in music is exciting.
There's a good side to it and then a scary side. And we'll just have to see where that leads.
Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
We're going to take a look at weather now. Rain coming down hard in Windsor as a system moves across the river. Environment Canada has a special weather advisory out right now as well, saying you might spot funnel clouds in the sky. To get a full look at what will happen this week weather-wise, let's go to Victor Paulo.
Jason, when it comes to Windsor here and the surrounding areas, when it comes to what we're expecting right around after the show, it's going to be 17 degrees, but I just want to point out there will be thunder in the air. Now, don't forget, if you do hear thunder roar, make sure you do go indoors. You don't want to be hanging around when that happens. Fast forward to around midnight, it's going to be 10 degrees, and if you can see it here, it's going to be foggy. It's going to be a foggy overnight for the Windsor area, and when it comes to the morning, it's going to clear right up, 13 degrees, and the best news is when it comes to noon on Wednesday, it's going to be 24, feeling like 25 degrees. Now, looking at the radar here for what you can expect over the next couple of hours. Starting your morning, as mentioned, it's going to be pretty clear to start the day. No rain in the area. There's going to be no thunder showers in the area, which is also great to see. And it's going to be clearing right up when it comes to your Wednesday, which is fantastic news. It's going to be better than all that rain and thunder showers, which we've been receiving over the last couple. Now, do take a bit of a fast forward. What's going to look like for Thursday morning. We do see there is a system coming our way slowly but surely, and that will be associated with thunder showers. But when it comes to tomorrow, and we're seeing how much rain over the next couple of hours, we're going to be experiencing about 8 millimeters of rain between now and 4 p.m., 10 millimeters correction between now and 4 p.m. on Thursday. But if we do take a peek at what we're expecting for tomorrow morning when your little ones are getting ready for school, well, it's going to be a bit of sun and cloud at 14 degrees, as mentioned. And if you do take a bit of a peek at our 3 and 7 day forecast for a couple things we can look forward to, well, the good news is when it comes to here, we do have some sunshine in our forecast. We do have a 27-degree day for Wednesday, 26-degree day for Thursday. It's going to be 27 on Friday, 26 on Saturday, 24 on Sunday. A bit of rain coming in on Monday, but one thing we do see is when it comes to the overnight temperatures, it's going to start off pretty warm when it comes to the overnight tomorrow, but eventually it starts to drop down. We're going to be feeling a lot closer to 12 degrees when it comes to the weekend, and that's always great news. Jason, hope you all enjoy the beautiful day we have set tomorrow, and back to you.
Thanks for that, Victor. Still to come here on CBC Windsor News at 6, there's some mannequin fashion happening in Quebec, and it's clothing optional. We'll take you there right after the break. Fans of K-pop supergroup BTS flocked to South Korea to celebrate the boy band's 10th anniversary. Excited fans from around the world commemorated the special day on Monday by visiting some of the band's favorite places around Seoul. Festivities will hit a peak over the weekend when the band's leader is scheduled to meet with fans and watch a fireworks show. The 7-member group is currently taking a break while 2 members complete mandatory military service. Over the past decade, the supergroup has achieved phenomenal international success, selling over 100 million albums and racking up more than 20 Guinness World Records and numerous global awards. Drivers passing through the picturesque Eastern Townships area in Quebec were a little shocked to see the town of Knowlton's newest additions. Some fashionably dressed, some undressed, but all proudly flaunting their individuality. Here's a look.
Her hand like this to the universe.
This guy is not following the dress code that we're used to. I can turn it. You can turn it like that.
Her name is Missy, short for Brome-Missisquoi, because she's a whole trip through Brome-Missisquoi. And we work our way to Lac Brome, of course. Here we are, and we have the marina on the lake. I would say I spent about 100 hours on her.
She pregnant because she has all the children of the world. It is a mummy. It's life and it's dead. That's it.
Scuba diver is good for all of the forest fire smoke. He's got a mask on. I think it's kind of cute. Adds some color to the town.
She's free. I feel like she's got freedom and she's just expressing herself.
Of course, the rose.
It's really beautiful. I love it.
I'm a bit alarmed by it because, you know, in the old days, this town was known for its decorum.
Teenager and children, you have the parents, you have the grandparents. A lady from Knowlton, she imports mannequins. She said, I have mannequin to give away. I will give it to you if you do an artistic project. The only rule was there, it's not to put clothes on the mannequin like you see in a store.
It's a trip made by tens of millions each year, but some folks will be getting in the spirit as soon as they get to the airport. These passengers, Disney items in hand, are getting ready to take a special flight to mark the 40th anniversary of the company's resort in Tokyo. From the exterior of the aircraft to the small details, the flight is all things Mickey and Minnie and Friends. The special themed plane will run until March of next year, but only at stops inside Japan. That's it for us here at CBC Windsor News live at 6. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, though, for news anytime, head to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor, and you can check us out on social media as well, Facebook and Instagram. Again, thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.